right, so I titled this Fostering a Community, a high volume foster program in Central Virginia, and a little bit more why as we go forward. So I work at the Lynchburg Humane Society. We are a nonprofit private organization in the Lynchburg, Virginia, and we service the entire Central Virginia region as well. We are a 501c as well as no-kill humane society. We are a private shelter, but we have a municipal contract with the city of Lynchburg. And we do practice manage intake and rehoming for pretty much everything but kittens, just because that we've recognized that the region needs kitten care. And we're the most equipped at this time to give that to them. And our no-kill status is primarily possible because of our foster program. At times we have more pets in our foster program than in the building. And additionally, our veterinary program enables our foster program to be this successful. We have partnered not only with national organizations like Best Friends, and we serve as a training facility for Best Friends, and the Virginia Federation of Humane Societies. But most importantly, we are building partnerships with all the counties and rescues in our region. And together we are building a community beyond the city of Lynchburg that's able to best serve these at-risk populations. And I'm really proud to be able to say that not only does LHS maintain our no-kill mission, but the counties we work with are yearly improving their life-saving impact. Many of them have in the last decade come into no-kill or very, very close to, and we're really proud of being able to enable them to do so. All right. So I'll introduce myself. My name is Kira. I'm the community pet coordinator here at LHS, and I've been here for a little over 3 years. And this is my third kitten season as a foster coordinator. I have a huge passion for foster care and the amazing impact this program has, not only for each of the individual pets, but the community as a whole. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the burnout and turnover rates that rescue work does give us. So we've had on average a team of 1.5 members on the foster team. So including myself as the full-time foster coordinator, and then part-time coordinators and supervisors who obviously have to split their time with other departments. So with that team of 1.5 people in 2021, we were able to take in 614 unweaned kittens, so kittens under 4 weeks of age, 1,638 individual pets were placed in a foster, 1,394 active foster families were participating, and 2,668 foster placements were made. And this does not include our pre-adopt foster to adopt pets for the unaltered pets in our region. It is just the foster program for primarily underage pets, medical pets, available pets, and pets available for adoption or behavior, etc. So not everything but adoption, basically. And so I started as foster coordinator in February 2020. So I had some really big ideas about the foster program, which had to take the back burner when we entered a global pandemic. So this presentation sort of combines 2020 and 2021 because so many of the things were implemented in 2020 and 2021, but we really didn't see the results until they were sort of combined. And we were able to put more detailed development into the program, and we had added a second team member. So 2020 was about survival. 2021 was really about development, and that's when a lot of these numbers came into fruition. So I categorized the implementations that we put into place with the foster program into 3 basic categories. Approaching the tough topics with positive wording. Oh, wait a second. I didn't say my goals. So they're pretty obvious goals. So grow and strengthen the program, decrease our dying care, and making fostering a positive experience for our foster parents. take a breath, and the way that we implemented that. So the first way was approaching tough topics with positive wording and changing the perspective on these topics, setting up the foster for success with clear communications of expectations, and fostering relationships with in an online community and in person with these fosters. So this is the slide I will probably spend the most time on, because this is really what has made a huge impact on not only just the numbers, but really the perspectives and the relationships that we've made with our foster families. It's scientifically proven that people have a better reaction to more positive words, and you're more naturally drawn to positivity. And there are a lot of tough things about foster care. Many of you are familiar with a movement a few years back to change the wording of foster fail to foster win. And we sort of taken that perspective and applied it to some of the other harder aspects of pet fostering. When I started, we had already had the branded terms, the kitten warriors, puppy crusaders, to describe our respective fosters. And in 2020, we added hospice heroes. We use these terms very frequently on our Facebook posts as hashtags in emails, resources, Facebook Lives, lingo, and even foster exclusive t-shirts. The names are all positive, and they highlight the foster's noble role in saving the lives of these pets, but it also in itself acknowledges right in the name the challenges that that role may face. So we're fighting for every kitten to save them. Taking on puppies is an adventure, and hospice fostering can be a sacrifice. So using these terms to describe our foster caretakers enables us to highlight their important role in this life saving. The second way that we change the perspective on fostering is by celebrating our foster graduations. So I knew as a foster parent before I became a coordinator how hard it was to return a foster pet that you put your heart and soul into fostering. Fosters put their time, sleepless nights, countless meals, money, and a piece of their heart into every single pet. So as kitten, puppy, or medical fosters, their goal is to get the pets available for adoption. And our graduations enable us to celebrate that accomplishment with the foster pets in the community. So each of the fosters they have to pass their graduation exam. But once they do, we invite the foster parents to pose with their foster pet with our foster graduation props to be used on our Facebook group. And the pictures are used on our Facebook group to share with the community, and on the main page to feature them to adopters. So while there are some tears still, fosters really enjoy this easy and quick ceremony to mark the end of their foster care journey. They know that participating and getting these pictures is jumpstarting the pets into that next chapter by providing them that promotion to be used on social media and the website. Many of them get adopted within 24 to 48 hours after being presented on the website for that reason. And if they don't choose to participate in person, we will just ask for pictures from them in the foster home to post, or if possible, we'll have a volunteer take a photo shoot here at the center to post at a later time, or in a group post or something like that. And then lastly, we've changed the perspective on how we approach returns, relief, and exchanges. So a lot of the time, fosters feel like when they reach a wall or something and they have to return the pet, so many of them came back feeling like they had failed the pet. But we've been able to really embrace the positive perspective that every single day outside of the center is information learned that we would never have known here in the shelter environment. And knowing that information is so important to make the next match for not only the foster pet, but for the foster family. So we have a great system of, if we are able to find a solution, we will work with the foster to do so, or find the next match for the foster parent or the foster pet. We usually ask the foster parent to personally post on our Facebook group page asking for relief or exchange, because at that point, they're still knowing more about the pet than we do. So it helps us get the next match going before the pets even have to either return to the center or get passed on to the next foster parent. And in a very similar way, when fosters reach the end of their commitment or they have something come up and the foster pet still needs care, there are putting that expectation on the foster parent to do a post and try to find a foster that can either provide the relief for a short period of time or in exchange and take over the foster commitment so that the pet stays in foster care and doesn't come back to the center. And this is really shown to not only help out with our staff workload, but it's really helped out our fosters with their that emotional load that they have. Like, they know that the foster pet is going to the next person. They can take a break. They can get some sleep over a weekend or enjoy their vacation knowing that the pets are either with another foster until they graduate or will come back to them when they're done with their break. And it really, it encourages the fosters to take those breaks, to not get burned out, and to return to foster when they're ready. Great. So for the second category, I'm just gonna skim over each of these things because these are pretty basic things that most foster programs already implement. But the baseline is that we're enabling and supporting the fosters to do their best without our staff having to do every single step of the way. So the number one thing that I like to say, if you can provide anything for your foster parents, is to provide a kitchen scale, because not everyone is trained to recognize illness in kittens and puppies, but pretty much every adult can count and see if a number goes up or down. And that's going to catch illness sometimes 2 to 3 days before we see typical symptoms. And then I will skim through our other things. We have that email virtual support at all times for our foster parents. Even if we are just responding saying, that is a great question, let me talk to the vet. It's acknowledging their concern and acknowledging that you've received their contact. Even if you don't have the time or resources or answers immediately to respond to them, acknowledging their question straight off the bat, it really helps them feel connected to the program, to the vet. And if you enables us to be like, okay, that's something we've seen before, try this, and then we can go on to the next steps. But it gives them that second of relaxation, being like, oh, they heard me, they're not concerned right now. I'm okay to wait until this afternoon when I can get a full paragraph, email response back. It really, really does help. We do have our LHS resources, which have our very specific program information, but it's also really important to share other resources like the online webinars provided by I Love the National Kitten Coalition and Maddie's Pet and APA and Kitten Lady. All those great ones are on YouTube and on their websites. So we don't have to rewrite the book. They've already been written by sometimes people that are way better at these things than we are. So we're able to utilize those with our foster parents in training them, as well as the Maddie's Pet Assistant app. Having 1.5 people managing usually between 200 and 600 foster pets in foster care at any one time automation is your best friend. So the Maddie's Pet has been really, really helpful for us to do those automatic surveys. I did change the frequency to a little bit more frequent than their standard because we needed that. But I did like all of the feedback and resources that our fosters got through the Maddie's Pet Assistant. And then, all right, so this stuff is a little more specific to our program just because we do have a very advanced veterinary program within our shelter. We have a head veterinarian who is here 5 days a week, and then we have floating veterinarians between our spay-neuter clinic and the shelter the other 2 days a week. So on average, we have a vet here on site 6 days a week. So some of this is definitely a little bit more advanced, but at the same time, with early prevention and preventative care and the personalized treatment plans, there's a lot of things that we can almost plan for without having the vet here at that exact moment. So the few things to just highlight on this page, I won't go over everything because most of these things are things that you all are probably familiar with. We do treat with pinazeral upon intake, and that's very specific to us right now because the Lynchburg area has a very high prevalence of coccidia. It's almost impossible for a kitten to graduate in our program without being treated for coccidia once. That's just how it is here. So we did specialize our preventative care to start treating that upon intake. And then we'd also have the drop-off fecal checks. So diarrhea is such a really, really big thing with kittens, especially puppies as well. But by dropping off just the fecal sample and we schedule the appointment with our veterinarian within the 48-hour or whatever period that we can, that fecal check will probably tell us the problem before the exam comes along and the vet can do the physical examination. And that makes it a lot easier for our fosters to, again, get the answers a little bit quicker, just get the ahead of the problem by even 1 or 2 days is super important. But they can drop those off anytime that we're open and they get taken to the back and read by one of our techs or the veterinarian. And then the last thing I'll just touch on this page is the personalized treatment plans and the honest conversations. So it doesn't help anyone to withhold any information about the treatments, the behaviors, conditions, or prognosis. So not only is our veterinarian very good at communicating that with our staff, but I've learned a way to communicate that with our fosters, and enabling the fosters to know the treatment plan or the prognosis. It really does set those honest expectations, and it builds the trust between the organization and the foster, knowing that we're doing everything that we can for the pet in need. I hate to say it, but it makes it so that the ones that we do ultimately lose, we know, and the foster knows, that we've done everything that we could have for that pet. And that, like I said, I hate to say it, but it does make it a little bit easier because we know we gave them a fight. We gave them everything that we could have. We knew that this was a chance, but we gave it our shot anyway. And it does make the experience a little bit more bearable for those fosters that end up losing kittens or puppies or hospice pets. And then I just have the 2 examples on the screen of a few examples on the screen I'll just point out. So we have, like I said, coccidia is so prevalent in our area. I have a treatment plan sheet that I fill out for every foster, which goes over what it is, what symptoms you're going to see, how to clean for it, your treatment plan, and then how to do the fecal sample. Because it's so prevalent, those extra little notes are, you're going to repeat it literally, I can't, hundreds and hundreds of times every year. So having it on one piece of paper there communicates it super clearly to the fosters, saying that if you don't clean it, it's probably going to reoccur. So we need you to take that extra step to clean up a little deeper this time around. I have the picture of the little puppy with a broken leg because we are one of our core values at LHS is just think the best. And accidents do happen with our fosters. Like this little puppy, I'm pretty sure he just jumped off of a couch. I remember this one, and the foster was heartbroken, and ultimately we learned he had some, maybe like deficiency in that bone when they did do the, and it was inevitable that that bone was going to break. So we were able to not only treat foster pet for the break, but the foster parent wasn't demoted or shamed or didn't feel any pressure from our end that this happened, because accidents do happen. It is. And then lastly, the one on the bottom corner is the kitten. I had a kitten, this was 2 weeks ago, where the foster was giving that kitten everything that they could have, and they ended up not making it. They were doing all of the standards of our care. When we came in, we saw the slightest symptoms of septicus, and that's something that like the veterinarian and I saw after 5 days of struggling. So we were able to start this treatment plan on the surviving kitten, but saying that we don't know if this kitten has a congenital defect or something that is going to make this inevitable, but these are the things that we can control. So these are the things that we're going to do. And I love writing it out for the fosters because they see that these are the things we can control. If we can't save them through these things, it's probably inevitable that we're going to lose them. But we, again, know that we gave that kitten our best shot. Calendly, I love Calendly. I hope everybody has heard about this because, like I said, with 1.5 fosters to a few hundred, or 1.5 coordinators to a few hundred fosters, automation is your best friend. And Calendly has been amazing for enabling our fosters to reach and get veterinary care for our foster pets. And I can answer more about that, but I'll just go ahead and skim through. Most of you are also familiar with the concept of having a Facebook group with your foster pets, foster parents, and you're probably very familiar with the pets inevitably just asking for foster care. So, but in addition to that, we've built up our community online, especially during 2020 and 2021 when we weren't able to meet in person, by providing resources right there on our foster page. So I had the 2 examples here. One of them is of one of our coordinators talking about what spaces and setups you can get prepared for kitten season. And then my example of the grieving the loss of a foster pet. We just had a ton of hospice pets in that time period, and we just needed to address it as a community. And it was really cool to see that on this post in particular, we had 21 comments, and most of the comments are our fosters coming back and being. And then I just had these here as a few examples of the other ways that our fosters interact back with us. So the first one is a foster asking, why is his eye look like this? Second one is a foster asking for that foster exchange. And then the other 2 are really cool. Just look at these cute puppies. And I made this new setup for my kittens. It was super easy. Let me tell you how to do it. And these are our fosters telling that to each other. We are also, and then also building those personal connections. Obviously 2020, we weren't able to do in-person events, but we did have paint nights where it was a fundraiser for the program, just a volunteer who had the supplies and everything. They picked up supplies and they all participated together over Zoom. We did our annual kitten shower live, which we'll be doing in person again this year. We have just implemented this year our Foster Fridays, which is a Friday night every month where the dogs in foster come into the center to be seen by the public. We had a community vendor fair here in 2022 that was incredibly successful and was able to bring our community together around our shared love for the pets, but also the foster parents, other parts of their lives. So I had quite a few of our vendors were our foster parents. For example, one of our foster parents is a realtor, and so she was able to have her table up with her realty information, and it had pictures of all of her foster pets all over it, and a cute little sign that said no home is complete without a cat. And it really connects not only our foster the pets, but also the people with the community. And then the personal connections, it's hard to say, but like these 3 pictures down along the bottom make me so emotional because I know their story and the personal connections that they have with these pets. But the first one is a foster fail, but we don't care. She was the perfect adopter for this dog, and we were just overjoyed at her adoption. This second one is one of our fosters' little, I think 3-year-old twins, and she fosters bottle babies, which is incredible. And she takes that opportunity to teach her children about compassion and all those things. And then lastly is a picture of one of our longest stay dogs with the foster and the adopter when at that time of exchange, which is just something we love to celebrate. So, and then this is the conclusion. Our growth just isn't in numbers. So in 2021, we were able to place 400 more pets with approximately the same number of active foster parents, which means that the foster caretakers were returning to foster multiple times per year. Individual pets were cared for on average by 1.6 foster caretakers. So the responsibility for one pet was shared over the course of the year between multiple people, which shares that physical and emotional toll and helps prevent the burnout. And then more returning fosters means that those fosters are developing stronger skills, taking on more challenging cases, which decreases the number of preventable deaths, which in turn makes a much more positive experience. So from 2019 to 2022, we had a 50% decrease in died in care. So those are a lot of the preventable neonate young kitten deaths was cut in half, which is incredible. And then last but not least, it's just the feedback that we've gotten back from our fosters, and that they absolutely love being a part of this program. And we did the FAST 15 survey and got on average rated a 4.75 out of 5. So that's a little bit about our program. I am absolutely so proud of all the work that we've done in the Virginia region, and that's a little bit of how we did it.